So you want to be a trader? Welcome to the crazy side. Time to quit the 9 to 5, take on entrepreneurship, work for yourself, and you're going to do that through the stock market. You've had enough with the boring way of doing things, and now you want to take on trading so that way you can make a full-time income and control your future. Become financially independent. You don't have to answer to a boss. You can have a flexible schedule, take your life back. If only it were that easy. Now, it's definitely possible, but it is very difficult. Social media makes trading seem easy, and like making thousands of dollars every single day is the normal thing. And yes, some people are able to achieve this, but at the end of the day, that is not the majority. Even people who've been doing this for a long time. I've been trading for almost 5 years, and making thousands of dollars every single day is not what I do. I just try my best to be as consistent as I possibly can, and I want to make a living. I'm not trying to get rich fast. My attitude coming into the market was it really is about the long game. I want to take this slow and steady. I want to build the right foundation so that way I can be in this game for the long term. Most people want to come to the stock market, hit it rich quick, and that's usually why they fail. And that's arguably the biggest mistake when it comes to new traders. They're focused on the shiny object and they're trying to make a ton of money really fast. Not only that, they make plenty more mistakes as far as the approach, but also there's a lot of things that people don't realize when you're venturing into the world of the stock market. And I want to go over a couple of those things today. First, it is not easy. This is arguably one of the most ridiculously tough things to do. It takes a very long time to figure out where you fit in, what you do best, how you like to trade, and that takes a ton of trial and error. And in my opinion, I think that takes around 3 years to really figure out what works best for you. And most people never make it that far along. They really start to get frustrated when they can't figure things out or they're not making as much money as they believe they should be. And then because of that, they take really crazy risks and they usually blow their accounts up. Now, every trader makes mistakes. Every trader is going to take big losses, but making sure that you stay in business is the most important part of this whole thing. And a lot of people just don't have the patience to go that 2 to 3 years to really figure it all out. So that first point, it's not as easy as everyone makes it seem online, and it's going to take a little bit longer than you anticipate to really become consistently profitable. And number 2 is going to be the unconventional way of going about making money when it comes to the market. Most people do not look at trading as a full-time job or a way to make a full-time income. So when you venture into the world of trading, there is going to be a lot of doubts, whether it be from friends, family, or both, on whether or not what you're doing makes sense. And that's a really tough thing to deal with because when you're kind of grinding away each day, not making much progress, and then you have negative energy coming from those around you telling you that what you do is too risky or it's not possible, that can really be tough to deal with. And a lot of people bring that negative energy to the market and they take unnecessary risk because they want the really big trade to be able to prove to everybody else that not only I can do this, but I can make good money as well. And that right there is not a good situation. Most people who are in that spot don't come out of it. So that point really is just highlighting that when you're venturing into something like this, you really do need support from friends, from family. The more supportive people you have around you, the better. And the next point is uncertainty. This is literally built off the back of uncertainty. Most people who are coming into the market, they're trying to quit their job where they have a consistent paycheck. This is far from that. Most people who get into this are coming from a job where they know how much money they were going to make at the end of each week and each month. And this is the exact opposite of that. Let's say you make $1,000 a week at a job and that's how much you're used to making. So you know that you're going to make $4,000 a month. You can't come into the stock market thinking, well, I'm going to make $200 a day. That's going to be $1,000 a week and that's going to be $4,000 a month. Not at all accurate. The reality of trading as far as a weekly paycheck is going to look something like minus $200 on Monday, plus $500 on Tuesday, plus $400 on Wednesday, minus $200 on Thursday, and plus $300 on Friday. So yes, you did end up making money at the end of the week, but it's a little bit of a roller coaster. And most people just can't deal with it. That actually took me a really long time to be able to understand that even though I am consistent, there are going to be times where it's a little choppy, and that's just how it goes. So if you really want to try to trade for income, you have to accept the fact that your income is going to be a little sporadic. And that's why I genuinely believe that this should never be your only source of income, even if it means having a part-time job where you do something in the later hours that allows you to trade in the morning, always having something else come in so that way you never feel panicked to make money. And even though there's endless points when it comes to being a trader, the last one that I'm going to touch on is money. A lot of people want to take a little bit of money and turn it into a lot of money, and that is really hard to do. I do believe that if you can't grow a small account, you will not be able to grow a large account, but starting with $500 or $1,000 is just too little in my opinion. Yes, I was able to take a $3,000 account to over $100,000 in 2020, but that's because it was arguably one of the easiest trading years in the history of the market, and I basically was lucky enough to ride Tesla up the whole way, so it allowed me to really have insane gains over that year. It definitely takes money to make money, and if I had to do it all over again, I would hope that I have at least a $10,000 to a $15,000 size account. The reason why I would want that size of an account is because one of my favorite stocks to trade is Tesla, but outside of Tesla, I like to trade the biggest movers in the market and do them through options. And being that options are very volatile, it's not uncommon to lose $300, $400, $500 on a trade that goes against you. And if I was trading with a $1,000, $2,000 account and I take a $300 or $400 hit, that would really mess with me psychologically because now my account looks substantially smaller because it is. Whereas if I had $10,000 or $15,000 and I were to take a bad trade and I got to get out of it and take the loss because everybody loses when it comes to trading, and I lost $300, $400, $500, it's not that big of a deal because I still have a decent size account left versus on a small account, it's going to feel like I already blew up. So at least on 10 to 15 grand, I feel like I have some runway and a real chance to succeed, but do it slowly. And also I would make sure that that account that I would be willing to let go to zero. Now that's absolute worst case scenario, but really it's just allowing me to trade money that I'm okay with losing. Doesn't mean that I would let it go to zero, but it's always just that worst case scenario because if I'm trading money that I absolutely need for my livelihood, then I'm not going to trade well. So those were just some of the points that I wanted to highlight for people who are interested in jumping into the stock market and want to be traders. There are a ton more things that I could talk about, but in my opinion, those are some of the more important ones. Hopefully you got some value out of the video. Let me know if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I just wanted to highlight a couple cool things I have to offer. The first is going to be my newsletter watch list. This is going to be what I post on my private Twitter 30 minutes before market open every day. And what I'm doing is I'm doing a very quick highlight of the SPY, the Qs, the bigger picture, the upside level that I'm looking at, the downside level that I'm looking at, the market news or the catalyst that day. And then I'm going to list 4 to 6 names that I'm watching, my favorites that day, and then the catalyst behind them if there's any news, the bigger picture idea, what's going on the daily chart, and then the levels to the upside and the downside. And then I add some mental notes at the bottom, kind of what I'm thinking that day, make sure to keep my expectations in check and follow my process. And the second thing is going to be a one-on-one call. So if you want something that's less of a commitment and you just want to talk to me about my process and how I approach the market, this is going to be great. It's a one-on-one live call for 1 hour. So if you're interested in any one of these two things, there will be links in the description below. Feel free to check them out.